to basically help people and turn people from their sin so they can be drawn into favor with God. That's basically the difference. So you have one operating for the enemy, and you have one that's operating for the Lord.
So really what it is a counterfeit.
It's an absolute counterfeit. And they try to deceive people, to make people believe that they know everything, they know what's going to happen, they know what's going on, but they are limited as far as what they can do.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of fakes out there, even in that realm,
Yes.
where people are being taken for a lot of money, and,
Yes.
and there's a lot of things going on in the so-called fortune-telling realm. We look in the Old Testament, and we see that King Saul was told to take all the witches and those who were soothsayers and spoke with familiar spirits, that they were to be killed.
Yes.
Back then in the Old Testament.
Yes.
And he didn't do that. He allowed one of them to live. And I understand that when he was having a bad time and he was losing his kingdom, that he decided to go to that fortune teller and to ask help, or to ask knowledge how to stop what was going on. He saw his kingdom crumbling in
Yes.
front of his eyes. And I understand, instead of the familiar spirit coming, that the real prophet that they were trying to conjure up came and spoke a word of prophecy. And the word of prophecy was that because you went to this witch and you did something that was an abomination to God,
Yes.
by going to and actually trying to create a seance,
Yes.
that he and his whole family were going to die before
Yes.
the next day was up, and sure enough, they did die.
Yes.
The enemy came in and destroyed and he lost his kingdom, and of course he lost his life. But we wanted to let people know out there that there's a big difference when you're going to fortune tellers. You had mentioned before the same thing with Ouija boards and tarot cards.
Yes.
That these things are not of God.
No.
They're an abomination unto God, because you're actually asking the enemy for help.
That's right.
And he's not going to give you the truth, right?
No.
Because what does it say about Satan? It said he's the father of liars.
That's right.
There is no truth in him.
He comes to steal, kill, and to destroy.
To steal, kill, and destroy. So those who are involved in witchcraft, or involved in some of these demonic things that might seem very innocent, because the world is accepting them.
Yes.
And even this Harry Potter, just this past week, that new book came out,
Yes.
and I heard on the news, I forget how many billions, but there was more books sold of the Harry Potter series than there is people in the world. There's only 6 billion people in the world, and I think they sold like 9-10 billion copies of Harry Potter books. And you might think this is an innocent thing, but what are they doing? They're doing something when they get involved in this. Aren't they opening the back door?
Absolutely. Anytime any individual goes to try to enter into that dark kingdom, they're opening up the door for the enemy to come in. It's basically opening up your front door.
Yeah.
And saying, come on in, whether it's a Ouija board, whether it's tarot cards, whether it's a fortune teller. There was games years ago, which some children still might play, Dungeons and Dragons, which had some devastating tragedies that took place from children that got so involved in these games that they themselves felt like they were these people in these games, and lives were lost because of it.
Yeah.
So it's a very dangerous realm to get involved in.
I understood that the 2 boys that were part of the Columbine massacre were involved in a game very similar to Dungeons and Dragons, and if it wasn't even that, it might even have been that program, but they were involved in one of these video games that were very, very satanic. And to those listening out there, you really have to know what your children are playing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And watching.
The enemy is putting all the material out there, whether it's in movies, books, magazines, especially video games. The violence today